I'm going to say this, and it's okay if you disagree. Okay. I have a big thing that I like to say is like, it's okay as we disagree as long as we agree to love each other. Be kind, be, socially respectful. That's okay to disagree. But I do not believe you can ever be angry at someone else. I do not believe you can ever truly be angry or even really, truly upset with another person.
You're upset with yourself.
Yep. In every situation.
Hold on. You're never, ever mad at anyone else.
It's only yourself.
Right. So here's one of the things that...
Hold on.
Go ahead. Come on.
So you said you may disagree. So I agree with that sentiment. So, but thinking through like, how does that function
the
when
logistics.
you're sexually abused? Right. There's still some drama. You work through that, and you still, why did I let myself be in that situation? Right. You still blame yourself, and there's still some really deep, just terrible things that you tell yourself. But that anger towards that experience and that person, like, how is that not being angry at them?
So this is a really, really great question, and it's actually insanely relevant because I have quite a few people who have been through some extreme traumas. I mean, and sometimes, and this is also really important. We're going to talk about trauma here, so I want to make this point. Whether you have a PTSD, or a T, it doesn't matter if it's this big or if it's as big as this whole building. It's yours, and you own it, and you should never, ever feel bad. I don't mean I'm telling you how to feel. I'm meaning that there should never be a situation in which you are made or within yourself in which you feel bad about that trauma, and you should never compare it to anyone else. That is super, super important. But I'm going to tell you, and this is a part of the answer of that, people who have been sexually traumatized, it's actually easier for them to forgive the other person than it is themselves.
Wow.
So think about that. Because ultimately, someone who traumatizes someone else in that way, a bully. So what is a bully? A bully is a coward. A bully is a coward who does not like some part of themselves, who probably at some point has been bullied themselves or perceived. So that's I had a thing with my daughter, and she was having this situation where she perceived herself as being bullied. And really, there was some light teasing going on in the class, but it was nothing outside of what anybody else has. The problem was she was holding all her feelings and then coming home and exploding. And we had this conversation. I said, so we asked this question, why are they bullying you? Okay. And it's like, well, because they're jerks. I'm like, no. Like, you can't define. We also had this conversation about, is there a good person or a bad person? There's only people who make bad decisions. The closest thing we have a bad person is someone who's made so many bad decisions, they themselves believe that they are bad. And outside of sociopathy, which is a disease, that is the closest thing to evil we have, are people who believe that they can't make other decisions. That's a real problem. I said, so why are they picking on you? And eventually we got to, because you react. You attract it by not being confident. I said, now why are they picking on you? And immediately, she didn't have to think about it. Well, because somebody probably did it to them. Right? So that's the sickness, is it gets passed. That's familial pain, or that's community pain.
Hold on, something you just did. It was so quick, but it was so powerful. So the first question was, why are they picking on you? And then the second question is, why are they picking on you?
Yeah,
right?
The emphasis is very important.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She is 10. She'll be 11 this year. Yeah.
How many people do you think are having these conversations that deep with their kids?
I know.
But I don't want to lose that piece about, because you had a really great question.
Yeah.
And, and I do aside a little bit about things, but because there's so much to be learned even in just that one question. So it's hard for them to let go and to heal themselves. Ultimately, you get to a point, you start doing a lot of therapy, and it might be a bunch of different things. Maybe you're going to a psychotherapist and a psychiatrist, and you take drugs, and you're in a group, and you're all these things, and then your bartender, your hair cutter, your massage therapist, everybody, they all hear it, and they all talk to you, and they all have their thoughts. But eventually you get to the point where you understand that person was sick.
Yeah.
And once you understand that someone who does something terrible is sick, and that they have a disease, and I don't mean sick like I'm judging you, I mean sick like, let's talk about it logically. You have a problem. If you think it's okay to do this to another person, societally speaking, no one is going to accept that. Not really. There are going to be echo chambers of people who throw hate. And let's just say that's a learned thing. Mm-hmm. That is a learned thing. And it is a learned, communicable disease, hate. All right? Hate is a communicable disease. In that moment, you could be like, really like, oh, and you have that feeling, okay, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
You have no idea. They may be really sick. They may be off their meds. There's a guy in our neighborhood that I used to live in. He went up to the school where I lived, like while we lived there. We used to walk by his house. He went off his meds. He showed up there with a military rifle and was like, fortunately somebody talked him down because he was just off his meds, but he could have killed a bunch of kids. You have no idea what's going on. The thing that got upset, and this is where we're going to go, the thing that got upset is your attachment to it going a certain way.
Exactly. Expectations.
That attachment is the thing that makes you upset. If you hold your attachments more lightly, then you find you don't get upset. Our personalities on top, those are facades. We have created them. We told ourselves, I'm like this. I like blue. I eat pickles in the afternoon. When people say this, I do this.
How did you know?
Right. So, but you can sink deeper into yourself and just recognize we're a being going through this experience of life. Time is a thing we've essentially created in order to be able to do that. I could really, really go. But we're going through this experience, and it's really the experience is the point. It's the 42. It's the answer. The experience is the point. And you can make that experience whatever you want it to be,
right,
just based on the way that you look at that. So let's go all the way back to that person who's been sexually traumatized in a terrible way. You could say they've been beaten, they've almost been killed, they've been raped, they had to carry their dad's baby, all these things. And ultimately, it's harder for them to forgive because they think it's their fault, and that's the sickness. And maybe and I want to say, anyone who hears this and they've been through that, I hear you. I will hear you if you want to say it. And if you want to be angry, you can say anything you want to me. I will hear you. If you want to say I am angry at that person, you can say that. You speak your truth. I'm speaking my truth, and it's okay if our truths are different. We can agree to disagree as long as we agree to live each other, okay? And I've also been traumatized a number of different ways about a number of different things, and that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people who've had it come and seek me, and they hear from someone else, and sometimes they don't even tell them that they do that. They just can tell. Mm-hmm. You can tell. When you're traumatized, it creates a kind of it's almost like it's not quite a superpower. I want to say because trauma doesn't create superpowers, but it can feel like it, and it can feel like a burden too. So why can I connect to people so well? I created this whole way of working on bodies called deep listening, and it's all about us connecting to their bodies. I do not have a plan when I go in there, and yet when people come, I know what color I should put on the table because I have different colored sheets. I know where the lights should be set. I know how high the head thing should be, before they come in, because I'm connecting to them. When we come in, I ask their body. I'll be talking to them about something else. I'll shake them, I'll touch them. I'll ask their body where to go. It tells me what to do. That's connection. That's listening, right? We can all do that. We can all be there. But I think people come because they get that. They get that I'm going to hold space for them because I needed that space held for me.